Mr. Hall?
Can I help you with something, Ms. Horowitz?
Oh, I was just passing by and on my way to the cafeteria and thought I'd stop in and see if I could get you anything.
Well, that's very generous of you, Sheriff, but considering your usual self-serving behavior, why don't you just tell me what you want?
My grade in your class does not reflect the hard work and dedication I have contributed to it.
I beg to differ. In fact, I would say most of your debates were largely improvised based upon the facts you could insinuate from the general description of the assignment.
Such as?
Such as your debate wherein you argued that unwed mothers should be entitled to government funding so they could purchase designer strollers and hats at Baby Couture for their unborn children.
Mr. Hall, those children are going to grow up without fathers. They deserve some luxury in life. All babies have to wear hats to avoid getting sunburned. The repercussions of early childhood skin damage are irreversible.
The topic was abortion.
And if unwed mothers could just get some money from the government, there would certainly be fewer irresponsible young women choosing abortion as a means of contraception. Think of how many more babies would be born if their mothers knew their baby could be suitably clothed and transported.
You were supposed to discuss government funding for abortion clinics, not whether the government ought to provide direct monetary assistance.
The assignment was, and I quote, Congress has proposed to pass a bill that would increase financial support for Planned Parenthood of America and similar progressive reproductive health organizations. Given the recent attention to the struggle between pro-life and pro-choice organizations, would passing the bill be a wise decision?
Yes, and nowhere in your argument did you address that issue.
I object. I was merely proposing the government reallocate those funds to the mothers considering aborting their babies. That way those mothers could responsibly choose whether or not they really wanted a child rather than basing it solely on finances.
Yet, if you had bothered to do any research on the subject, you would know that such proposal is not within the parameters of the bill in question.
Mr. Hall, don't you think that's a little un-American? I mean, this country is based entirely on the fact that the people have a voice and we can make amendments to the Constitution. Not that we live in a rigid dictatorship where everyone has communal ownership of poorly groomed land and has to wear the same pair of government-issued shoes every day.
That would be socialism, Sherry.
Look, my point is, you are failing to acknowledge the fact that I have worked diligently all semester to revitalize outdated and abstract arguments and make them relevant to today's youth.
If by that you mean you read the assignment and made up some argument vaguely based upon your own life experiences rather than following the standard format for constructing a debate, then yes, I would agree.
What?
What I mean, Ms. Horowitz, is that try as you might to argue the contrary, your grades does reflect the work you have put into it.
Mr. Hall, I always complete my assignments on time and never fail to move my classmates to anything less than thunderous applause.
A tribute to your popularity. And yes, you always have something to say, regardless of whether or not you have been asked to participate. Hence, why I did not fail you. But frankly, your debates are unresearched, unstructured, and unconvincing.
That is completely unfair. I have volumes of documentation to support my scholastic aptitude.
No doubt printed less than an hour ago on your first visit to the library since last December.
I object. I have spent many hours in the stack supplementing my class studies.
If by that you mean you sit on the chair in the back corner of the A's and read fashion magazines, then I believe you.
Exactly. Where else better to learn about current events relevant to the society we live in? This is Beverly Hills.
Goodbye, Miss Horowitz.
My dad is a really important lawyer.
I'm aware.
Well, don't you think that through years of observation, I would have deduced from him how to construct an effective argument?
You certainly seem to be passionate about arguing on behalf of your grades, but it stands as it is.
My grades should be a reflection of my ability to argue.
Goodbye, Miss Horowitz.
No, just give me a chance to show you how I used all my tireless hours of research to construct the basis of my debates.
Goodbye.
Mr. Hall!
Awesome. Really well written scene. Good dialogue. Good dialogue.
Thank you.
Oh, awesome.
All the way.
Gotta, hold on, I gotta get wide here. Oh, yeah. This is great. No, he's Tom Hanks from Castaway. That's Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson.
Where's the ball? We totally need a ball and a shot.
I don't mean to complain all the time. There's just a lot of things that I miss. Things that you wouldn't understand. One thing that I really, really miss. Not that, Herbert. I miss Q-tips. Q-tips, they're the greatest invention ever. It's when I walk out of that ocean and there's water in my ear, you hit and you hit and you hit. Just a little Q-tip, it just feels, it's the best. It's the greatest. I can't even use my fingers with the sand and everything. I just have to walk around with little droplets of water in my ear. It just drives me crazy. But there's some things that I don't miss. Shoveling snow, paying bills. Joe, down at the loading, he drives me nuts. With the inane questions, he's always saying, hey, Chuck, how you doing? Hey, okay, quick question, okay? One food for the rest of your life, what would you eat? Okay, he asks these questions, he doesn't want to know my answer. It's preloaded for him just to say, oh, I would do this, or it just drives me crazy. And he's like singing that song, okay? No music, I have no music. And you know what song's been in my head for months? The Banana Fanta song. Banana Fanta song. Wilson, Bo Pilson, Banana Fanta, Bo Pilson. Oh, hey, Chuck, Bo Buck, Banana Fanta. You get the idea. I don't mean to be short with you. I'm sorry. I haven't been sleeping much. I look forward to sleep. When I sleep, I dream, and when I dream, I'm home. I don't have that now. I just keep having the same dream. Yeah, it's real. It was something that happened when I was younger. I was a teenager and I was taking my grandmother downtown to see a show. And she had just had knee surgery and it was winter and it was icy and I was holding really tight to get from the subway to the theater. The streets were just ice everywhere. Be really cautious. And we get to the top of the subway platform and we're there. And this guy hits my shoulder and runs past me and I'm just so mad. Like, hey, don't you see I have an elderly woman here? But then seconds later, I turn around and there's an older Asian gentleman and he's running after this other guy. He's screaming, stop him, because he robbed him. And my first gut instinct was to go after him because I could run really fast back then and I didn't. I just stood there. And I justified it that I didn't want to leave my grandmother. What if she fell, or even what if the guy had a gun and all this. But the bottom line was that I was afraid. And I guess I'm afraid now. And I don't even have my dreams.